Hi everybody, my name is Shannon. Welcome to my channel, Another Yarn. Thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate it. Oh my goodness, this whole last couple of days, they're all running together since I've had time off from work. It's all the weekend, right? You know, from Christmas on, has been great. Had a lot of time to spend with family, and as you've noticed in the last couple of days or this last week, got a surprise special guest visit from my daughter a couple times, and really does a mother's heart so proud to see, especially a crafting mother's heart, so proud to see their child pick up yarn and make something. Oh my gosh, I don't care if it's knit, crochet, weaving, it does, string art for that matter, it doesn't matter. And that has just brought so much joy to me to see both of them. I did go ahead on Amazon and picked up another needle set for my granddaughter. And when that comes in, I'll go over that and I'll explain why I got that one, the cost of it, you know, that just like anything, there are different levels of items. You can get something like when we get certain kits and they have plastic crochet hooks that bend. They'll get the job done, maybe, but they will, right? But they won't necessarily give you a lot of joy while you do it. There is a huge difference with what your tools are. So I'll go over a little bit of that and why I got that particular set when it comes in. And then while my daughter was working on her stuff, of course I had to start something. I mean, yeah, hello. And we saw when I showed this yarn, this beautiful yarn, this is, do I have the label of this one? Maybe I've got a bunch of needles in it. Look, I'm still upset I got all the needles in it. This is the Shopple Wonder Clicks. Yeah. And it's just a finger weight sock yarn. It is absolutely fabulous. How many yards was this? It's a wool, yes, 75% wool and 25% polyamide, 420 meters for the 100 grams. Perfect. I've used that type of yarn before, but when I cast on with this using my size 1 needles, it was, to me, it was too lacy. It needed to be on smaller needles to get the tight weave that I wanted. See, weaving, knitting, whatever. But it really did, so I pulled it out. No, I only need one for a pair of socks, but I have two, right? So I could do something else with it. I did like the way the color was working up on that, but right after pulling that out, I didn't want to pick that one back up. Yes, I could have found my zeros, but that would require me finding my zeros when I know where 3 or 4 sets of my size 1s are, like within arm's reach. Okay, that's an exaggeration. They're 2 arms reaches over, but whatever. I knew where those were, and I just pulled size 1s out of that ball, so I thought, I'm going to use those. And then I went looking through my yarn, you know, because that's fun. Oh my gosh, is that fun? Like, okay, what yarn do I want? I've got some gorgeous yarns that require winding, so those were out of the picture. I know it's sad, isn't it? But I'm like, I wanted now. I wanted to pick up the skein of yarn now. And I ended up on mystery yarn. This is mystery yarn. If you know what this is, let me know. I know one of the other previous pairs of mystery yarn that I got at the thrift store. Oh yeah, thrift store, it was $1. I mean, right? Can't beat it. And I can tell this is a wool sock yarn. And I love the colors. Our boys like that color. My husband likes that color. Love those colors. So wanted to start working with this. The last mystery ones that I got, I was told it was not Lion Brand, big box store, don't sell it anymore. Okay, well, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was sad that you don't get it anymore because I really enjoyed it. It worked up really nicely. It felt like some of the yarns that were going to be hard wearing. This feels like a good hard wearing sock yarn, wool content, whole 9 yards. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I love the colors. So I started working on this and I got a pretty decent amount. Look at that. I mean, I've got my cuff. I generally do about 15 rounds, 15, 20 rounds, depending on, you know, who I'm doing it for, or if I've lost count. And that just makes it easier for me when I do the second sock because I already have in my head the programmed vanilla sock. I already know that. So there's that. I know, I'm having a blast working on that. And then this is just the plain vanilla pattern. It's stockinette. Let the yarn do the talking on that. So having fun with those types of things. But then, as we all do, okay, as I do, right? I'm not going to say you do that, because you craft more than you scroll through Ravelry and doom scroll and all that other stuff. You know, sometimes I get caught in that stuff. So I was looking at different YouTube content creators and sock knitting. You can also crochet socks. You can. And I have before. I personally did not have a lot of success with them. I made them. They were frustrating. I will go right out there and say that they were frustrating. So if you crochet socks and you love your socks, you're a whole heck of a lot better than I am. You have persevered, and I am proud of you. It frustrated me. It didn't have the stretch. I didn't have a good gauge on it. I made it too tight. They were hard to put on. That was my experience. Doesn't mean it's going to be yours, okay? So you don't have to be left out if you're like, I just crochet and that's it. So there are some other things. Oh yeah, let me pull up on my iPad. Around here, as we call it, the iPad. Okay, so I got my iPad out, and let me see if I can find. There are some suggestions, and if I can't find them really quickly, I will link them down below. What I was doing is, the last time I talked about socks, people gave suggestions on, hey, these are great sock tutorials, sock people, like the Crazy Sock Lady. Hello, she's got Sock Lady in her name on YouTube. Yeah, she's got tutorials. She's got things that you can go look at that can help, especially if you're just new to making socks and you want to do that. You can do it. I know you can. Let's see. No, that one's not it. That's the outfit. Oh, they changed how they look at these things. Yeah, that's my story. That's my story. Let's see. Nope, scrap socks. Yeah, I was told I can make scrap socks like Pippi Longstocking, you know, all the way up to the thigh. I did make some knee socks before. I did, with lace ruffle around the top. I really did. Yep. So I gave them away. First pair of socks. Okay, here it is. Here it is. So Might Be Batman 3659 suggested the Blue Mouse Knits has the best follow along tutorial in her opinion, or his opinion. Could be a guy. I don't know. So I'm excited because like, I'm working on my very first pair of socks. I'm an avid crocheter, but I've never knitted. And this person is following the Blue Moose Knits has the best follow along tutorial. So I'm going to try to find the blue words are hard. I'm going to try to find that particular content creator, subscribe to that content creator, and link that video if I can find it. If not, at least having the content creator in my description box. Feel free to go and look that up. So this is our community. So somebody else in our community says, this is a good resource. And as an avid crocheter just picking up knitting, if they're saying it's a great resource, yes, it probably really is. So excited about that. Another one that we got is Norman at Nimble Needles has a tutorial for socks. So we'll have to look that up too and see how that is. So some other nice resources that we can deal with. I'm loving this. I like that we're sharing as far as that. Asking if I have tutorials for socks. No, I do not. I have a couple of tutorials, very few. This coming year, I might add a few more, but tutorials take a lot of time. They just do. I ended up with the few that I've made, a lot of, as they say on the editor's floor, right? That's where hours worth of stuff. I mean, hands off to the content creators like Crystal at Bag a Day Crochet. No, I'm not name dropping, but oh my gosh, if you've been around for a while, she's got over 1 million subscribers. Most all of us know who Crystal is. The tutorials that she puts out are fantastic. The time and the work and the effort that she must put into each one to show us all how to crochet different things is spectacular. So hats off to her, no doubt. Okay, so those were the ones that I had that were just at the top of the list talking about that. If you have some other resources for sock knitting that you think everyone might be interested in, go ahead and put it down in the comments and I will link to that. There's another one that somebody put and they linked the tutorial, and I'm going to go ahead and have that one in the comments also. It's a, I'm not sure who it's by. Let me click the link. Okay, now we've got noise. I don't want noise. Wow, no noise, no noise. Okay, the Almost Ultimate Guide on Knitting for Beginners. Knitting tutorial for beginners. I'm going to have that link down below too. And this is IKOXUN is the content creator, and I just subscribed. All right. And yeah, and she's got 368,000 subscribers. So evidently a lot of people think she's got some fantastic stuff and some fantastic words of wisdom. I'll put her tutorial down below too, because this was another one that people in our viewing community have recommended. And that's gold. That's worth gold. So this is our community sharing with one another, and I really appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and link that one too. And let's see, there are a couple of other, okay, oh, that all my stuff's in a different order. My Pink Bathtub, Diane at My Pink Bathtub, I'll have her linked. She and her partner, her friend, why are they not together? I subscribed to both of them at the same time. And Soxy Nana, Alice from Soxy Nana. So both of them are doing a sock knit along this year from all ranges of people, and they're free patterns, all ranges of skill levels from first time to massively experienced. It doesn't really matter. Lots of encouragement, lots of fun. They also have a group on Ravelry for chatting and just fun and encouragement. I believe on some of the months there may be prizes. I don't know all the details. I've been listening to their videos, and you know how when you listen to a lot of videos, some stuff runs together. But I have been listening to the videos, and of course during Christmas time it was a lot of the advents, right? I mean, yeah, I was doing the advents too, because yeah, that's fun. It's sad they're over. Now I have to do something with it. Wow. I mean, there is that. So that's what's had me consumed, is all the different socks. Because one of the other things that I'd like to do, and you know, I'd commented that I generally make about 10 pair of socks in the year. This is pair number 10, right? So I haven't got it done yet, but the year's not over yet. And I like to give them away and to family members. Now my husband wants more of the Tabi socks. That's the toe socks. And that's what I'm going to do. That's what these are. They're going to be his. He didn't pick any socks at Christmas time. He wanted special ones because my husband's very special. He's very needy and he really likes my stuff. And I wouldn't have it any other way, truthfully. I really wouldn't. It is such a blessing. So I'm going to make his socks with this mystery yarn. I think he's going to absolutely love them. And then one of the other things that I noticed when everyone was picking out the socks that one of my daughter-in-laws, the one with the really tiny feet, ended up getting, they fit her, but I don't think they were necessarily of a color or a kind that she preferred, but having the smaller feet, you know, it's like you get what fits, right? So I'd like to make her some socks out of cycle, I should say. And when I get, I'll pick something out. When I get those done, probably something from the sock challenge, and I'm going to go out on a limb and try to do some different things. Not everything is just my traditional vanilla sock. And I mean, even these are the vanilla sock until you put the toes on. But everything else is just the typical vanilla sock pattern for me. It really is. There was nothing special on them. I mean, they're for my husband. Of course, they're special. But there was nothing out of the ordinary. I didn't put any unique patterns in it. I let the yarn do the talking. That's how the yarn came out of the yarn ball. Same as this is coming out is, you know, that. I'm not doing anything special to it. So I think this year, I'd like to do some more special socks. Will it go over well? I don't know. But I can play with it. I mean, last year I did a whole lot of let me try something new. And it wasn't even a goal. It was just how it happened. And this year, I think I'm going to join in with all of the different sock things. And even that with the My Pink Bathtub. And, okay. All right. Sorry about the Alice, Soxy Nana Alice. So, you know, you've got Diane and Alice. Even with that, that was suggested below in my comment section by another commenter. It's like, hey, are you doing this? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go see. Okay, I'm making socks anyway. I can join in. I can uplift other content creators. That's what we do, you know, and I can encourage other people who are just starting out. That's what we do. And to find another, hey, this is a really good beginning tutorial for first-time knitters from somebody else who is just learning first-time knitting, I'm going to give that to my daughter and for my granddaughter, and I will link it for everyone else to play along, and maybe it'll help all of us along to build our skills. So this is what I call absolutely enjoyable and a lot of fun. Now let's see, what is it? So there's a couple different groups on Ravelry, not just Alice and Diane that are doing socks and participating. So I'm looking at that, and they have themes, scheduled themes. One of them for the scheduled theme is January and February is leftovers and mosaic. So kind of going out on a limb. Leftovers, I've got leftovers. There you go. Mosaic, doing mosaic socks. I haven't really done that, and I have commented on how I wanted to do a little bit more, just adding a little oomph to my stuff, you know, just because I can. And I would like to do some color work, some actual color work, the two-stranded that I've shown on all the hats. I'd like to do that on the socks. And I think just more on the leg, the cuff and the leg, kind of intimidates me to go all the way around and down to this area and everything and doing the color work, because if you get your floats too tight, your foot's not getting in that sock, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. And that's kind of intimidating, and maybe that's all in my head, and I should just go for it, because I believe that's what I tell everyone else. It's not hard. It's not. And then there's crocheting. I've got that Textured Baby crochet book. Oh my gosh. That I put a poll out there, so go ahead and in the community tab, vote on that. There's some sweaters. I mean, I think in that book, it's got 20 patterns in it. One of them is a blanket, you know, like the blanket's nice. The outfits, there's like 19 outfits in one blanket, so 20 patterns. Oh my gosh. I think every one of them is like, I'd like to make that. I'd like to make that. Oh my goodness, I'd like to make that one too. And they're beautiful. They're textured. Yeah, it kind of says that in the title, doesn't it? Textured Baby crochet. But that to me, it's just like, I have to make something. So please go ahead and vote in the poll and see, you know, what would you make if those were your 3 choices? Again, there's 20 patterns. But I didn't want to make a 20 pattern poll. I thought that would be a little bit too excessive, right? Just 3. We can start with 3. And so it's the new year. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm like flooded with endorphins is probably not the right word, but whatever, we'll go with it. I'm just flooded with all the newness, like, you know, because it's the new year, and all the potential. Kind of like getting that new ball of yarn to the first, when you get that new skein of yarn, right? You're flooded with all the potential of what it can be when it grows up, because that's what we do with our string and our yarn, our glorified stuff. It's the same thing. For some reason, we put a lot of everything onto it's the first of the year. Well, it's kind of like spring cleaning. Yeah, don't get me started on spring cleaning. But when they talk about spring is in the air and you just have a different feeling and you just have a different bounce in your step and you're like, I don't mean to be that way. It's kind of like that for the new year. I don't mean to be that way, but I can't help but to look forward and going, all right, last year, 2024, I know it's not over yet, there was a lot that happened and I'm really thrilled. And this new year, my daughter is knitting. My granddaughter is knitting. I mean, if that doesn't just fire me up with all the potentials and everything and being able to share the love of everything that I have in this room, their benefit is they have a virtual, a veritable, whatever you want to call it, yarn store at their fingertips. Because do you really think Nana's going to say no? No. If they want to make something and they're going to use it. Now, where would I say no? You want to take the yarn and just slice it up into pom-poms and what have you as kids craft? Depends on the yarn. I would draw the line on that. I'm not going to lie. Some of it I would say yes to. Others I'm like, no, not this. But if they want to work on knitting and crocheting and they're excited and the colors and the feel and the texture of the yarn excites them to where they want to stick to it more, yes, they can have it. And it's wonderful because I know I've described that feeling to a lot of people and don't save the yarn for good. And then to hear my daughter and to see her when she's working with this yarn, yep, her scarf is in this yarn. She showed me where she's at today. Oh my gosh, she's fast. I mean, she's fast. So to be excited about this is Mako cotton, 96% cotton, 4% nylon, and it is so soft. Juniper Moon Nimbus prints. It is a very soft, luxury feeling cotton. It's amazing. It's just like a cloud. But to see her get so excited and at first going, oh, do you think a garter stitch scarf just wouldn't do it justice? Oh, baby, if that fires your brain, if that's what you want to make, then you make that. And if that keeps you excited to go from gorgeous color to gorgeous color, because there's purple in this thing too. If it does all of those things, yes, 100%, it is worth it. Stop saving the stuff for good. You bought it to love it, to pet it, to hold it. Do it. And you also look at when you're crocheting or knitting or weaving, right? Anything that you're dealing with yarn, how much are you touching that yarn? We're very tactile people. You're touching it, you're loving it, you're caressing, you're getting the joy from it. Don't just throw it on the shelf. That's, you know, I've heard so many content creators this year, they're like, I want to clean up my stash. I want to do this stuff. I want to do that. Well, for a lot of different reasons. For one reason, they're running out of space. I get that. I get that. Running out of space. And the other part is there's a lot of beauty tucked into the cubbies in this room. And I'm telling you, like what Erin from Crafting Kitty's doing, she's going through some of her stuff. She's got her yarn management Mondays, and she's just pulling everything out and saying, hey, am I going to use this? Great. If I'm going to use it, then I can pack it up nice and neat and put it back. And if I'm not going to, I loved it at one point, but I maybe don't love it, or I would just rather pass it on to somebody else to let them work through it. And she's letting certain things go. And I think that is absolutely wonderful. And concentrating on the stuff that brings her joy. Because that's the other thing. Sometimes when we first start out, we see a sale or we see a whatever and we go nuts, especially when we're first starting with the craft. We buy a bunch of, fill in the blank on the yarn. It can be whatever type of yarn. And then after you've been working with it for a little while, you're going, you know, it's nice. I like it, but I like this better, right? And whatever it is. And like, I don't want to, this helped me, that whatever that yarn was, it helped you even if you don't use it because it excited you. It helped you to build that love of the craft. So don't look at it as a waste. It's definitely not a waste, but you can let it go. You can give it to somebody else who's at that part, that beginning part of the journey that you were at when it was so exciting to get that, whatever the brand of yarn is, whatever the type of yarn is, when you were really excited. And now that you've been working with it for 2-3 years, 6 months, whatever, you're like, oh yeah, I don't like that anymore. I'm not. Pass it on to somebody else and it's going to fire their brain and they're going to be where you're at in 5-6 months or a year or whatever. And I think that is absolutely wonderful. So if you clean your stuff up and you decide, I don't want this bin, I don't want this bag, I don't want this two skeins of yarn, whatever it is, it served its purpose. It really did. It fired your brain and it got you excited and you got to dream about all the possibilities and everything else. And if it's not something that you love anymore, like, you know, years ago, I had what filled a 30-gallon trash bag full of the Fun Fur yarns. Oh my, that was the first fancy yarn I bought. It was. I got it at, I think Walmart. Walmart had some of the boa type yarns when they first came in. And it just, I was so excited. That was the fancy stuff. And it had the patterns where you could make more than just the scarf. You'd had a whole bunch of them and you could crochet up a little bolero jacket or something along that line. I overbought is an understatement. Every time they went on sale, I purchased more. And then you also had the felting craze. So not only were you taking solid wool yarns, you were felting it. You would purposely throw it in your wash machine and dryer and everything, and hot water and agitating, and it would shrink. And you would use those novelty yarns along with that wool. And then you'd have all the little feathers sticking out and whatever it was. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So I definitely overbought on that. And it was interesting because I packed it up and multiple times to pass on to other people. And then it's like, but wait, I might want it. No, it's okay. Let it go. I did finally let it go. Now, that's not to say I let all of it go. I do have one cubicle like this of some of the novelty yarns. It's not as much as I used to have, but I passed it on. But it did its purpose. Oh my gosh, that was my first fancy yarn. No doubt. It really was. And I was so tickled for every skein that I got, everything that I got that was novelty like that. I just thought it was, I was like bougie, man. I'm telling you, that was like the bougiest stuff that I had. I was, you know, walking on cloud 9. I thought I was all that. And I used a lot of it. I really did. And then I moved on. And I had a lot left because we can buy yarn faster than we can use it. It's a thing. But I had a lot left. Well, I passed it on. And that's not to say I didn't want to keep some because, hello, when I'm doing the gnomes, that fur yarn is perfect for the beards. When I did the, where did her little hat go? Where'd her hat go? There it is. This, so I have, that one's not the typical Fun Fur, but that's a caribou. That's the name of it, caribou fur yarn. Oh no, that was the Gopher Faux. That was the Gopher Faux for Lion Brand. And I bought a bunch. Now, I don't normally use the novelty yarns, or not a lot. But that was beautiful and I had to have some. So yeah, I specifically bought that. But I have it limited to like a cubicle like this of the novelties because Sometimes the novelty is perfect. And I didn't have to go out and get any of it. I had some. I just didn't need a ton of it. I didn't need the excess that I had. I think I had so much of that because I had mine and somebody else had done the same thing and passed their stuff on to me. So I ended up with this huge collection of it. Didn't make me sad at all. I mean, it brought me a lot of joy. So if you find that you have yarn in your stash that brought you a massive amount of joy when you got it, and now you're like, it's not, and then you're starting to kick yourself going, wow, that was a waste of money. I spent all this money and this time and I could have got good yarn, whatever that might be in your world. No, don't think like that. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. It made you happy. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. It excited you and made you want to play with things even more. There was no waste, not at all. And if you want, like I said, pass it on to the next person that's at that point in their journey that you were when you first got it. All right, everybody, with that, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. You guys have a great day, night, evening, whatever it happens to be. And I will talk to you again later. Bye-bye.